Damn, almost 300 episodes and I haven't done one Takashi Miike movie yet. Who's Takashi Miike? Only one of the weirdest and wildest directors to come out of Japan, which is really saying something. So am I gonna start with one of his more famous and well-liked movies? Nope. Instead, I'm doing a video game adaptation that not a lot of people have heard of. Hey, come on, it's a video game movie. How bad could it be, right? Yakuza Like a Dragon, or Like a Dragon the Movie if you want the literal translation, is a 2007 movie adaptation of the PlayStation 2 game Yakuza from legendary Japanese director Takashi Miike, who's known for movies like Audition, Ichi the Killer, 13 Assassins, and Gozu, to name just a few. And I do mean a few, because Takashi is one prolific motherfucker, having directed more than 100 movies so far. In fact, this was just one of 4 movies he directed in 2007 alone. Perhaps as a result of having such a huge filmography, this one doesn't seem to get mentioned much, either by fans of Miike or video game adaptations. It's also not that easy to find. To get a high-def copy of the movie, I had to order this French import Blu-ray. And if anyone's wondering what a Japanese movie dubbed into French is like...
Bute-le-moi, ce con! Ça va leur délier la langue à cette bande de cafards! Bute-le toi-même! Vas-y, fume-le! Fais-le, toi! Non, c'est à toi de le faire!
Alright, as tempting as it is to riff the movie in French, it also includes a Japanese language track, so what do you say we just use that one? Now before we get started, I should say that I've never played the game this is based on and only did a small amount of research on it before making this video. But if the movie is anything like what I did see of the game...
Kazuma-san, she's a guy!
Okay, if nothing else, this movie should at least be pretty entertaining. So now that I've gotten the backstory out of the way, want to know how the movie begins? That's right, with some good old Japanese hard rock. You know, between the soundtrack and the shots of people walking around Tokyo, this is like Koyana Scotzi if it doubled as a Megadeth video. And it's a crime film, so I guess it's appropriate we start with a crime being committed. What the hell? Looks like Ratfink and Boo Boo eventually moved to Japan and started a life of crime. Now with my copy of the movie, the subtitles aren't hard-coded in, but... Yeah, I have a feeling that even with subtitles, what they're saying wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. These two are attempting to rob a bank, and the police have gathered next door to keep an eye on them. And because it's Japan, that means even the crime scenes are overcrowded. They need even more police to come push people into this place. Also, I swear this isn't one of my fake subtitles, although it kinda seems like it could be. Anyway, what are the robbers doing? Jesus, they're still arguing? Do something! Thank you! So after that weird opening, we're introduced to our main character, Kazuma Kiryu, an ex-Yakuza member who just got out of prison after 10 years. And I actually only found out that he just got out of prison when doing research for this video, because if they mention it in the movie, I must have missed it. Even though I'm not super familiar with the games, it does look like they did a pretty good job with the casting here. Actually, wait a second. I recognize this guy. Oh great, now I gotta worry about Toho blocking this video and they didn't even make the movie. Alright, it's a video game movie, so does that mean we're gonna get some action? Oh, looks like they got the fighting down pretty similar to the game. All he needs is a health bar on screen. Okay, I see Kiryu managed to fill up his special attack meter. Oh, also the background of the movie involves Tokyo going through a massive heat wave, but it's not really necessary to the plot. I think Takashi just included it as an excuse for people to act weird. Speaking of the plot, the bad guy is a Yakuza pirate pimp named Goro, who by the looks of it is also pretty accurate to the game. Goro has a score to settle with Kiryu for... some reason, I don't really know. Honestly, the plot here is pretty disjointed, but I don't really care about the plot in a video game. I just care if it's fun. And if anyone's still not sure what movie they're watching...
ホームランや。
Yep, it's a Takashi Miike movie, alright. As long as we're discussing the plot, this also apparently decided to include some side characters that are only tenuously connected to the main story. For example, a young couple that Kiryu saved from the thugs in the convenience store earlier randomly decided to go on a crime spree. Again, I'm not really familiar with the game, but these two seem like a couple of random NPCs you'd run into on the street and beat up just cause you can. Or who knows, maybe Kazuma will kill him as part of a mission later. Also, wasn't there a bank robbery happening?
今日とか明日とか昨日とかそういう問題じゃねえだろ。いつでも縫ったらダメやんかこんなの。うるさい今にし。あちゃ
Oh, never mind, these two are still arguing over bullshit. And I know Japan likes to include random minigames like feeding a dog, but can we get back to more fighting? Hey, that's more like it. Again, I haven't played the game, but from what I could gather, hitting people with blunt objects is a pretty big part of it, so it was nice of Takashi to include this part. Also, while this might seem pretty weird so far to most people, by Takashi Miike's usual standards, this is actually pretty normal. But there are still some flashes of his usual weirdness here. For example, that's a thing that just happened. Ooh, hey, look at that. Looks like Goro managed to find a secret area. Doesn't lead to much though, just a torture minigame. Whatever. Takashi Miike made Audition. Compared to that, this movie is tame. Oh, and did I mention that Quentin Tarantino is a huge fan of Takashi's movies? Easiest joke in the entire video. Alright, looks like Goro's about to get some weapon upgrades. Hopefully this game lets you carry him all at once. Yeah, that's what you get for bringing a bat to a Grand Theft Auto knockoff, asshole. As if this movie didn't already have enough storylines going on, Kiryu's also helping a little girl named Haruka find her mom. I don't know where she came from, she just kinda randomly shows up about 20 minutes into the movie. I also don't know why she's getting a former Yakuza member who just got out of prison to help her, but hey, maybe it makes more sense in the game. I wasn't super invested in why Mario was rescuing Princess Peach, just so long as he stomped plenty of Koopas on the way there. Also, other than the fact that Kiryu talks to the police detective for a little bit, I still don't know how the bank robbers tie in with all this. There's something about a bunch of Yakuza money mysteriously going missing and the bank these guys are trying to rob is actually empty, but they're still devoting a lot of time to characters that seem like the kind of people you'd beat up in a game. Hopefully the movie ends with them at a diner asking for a wallet labeled Badass Yakuza Motherfucker. At one point, the subtitles even ask what else is going on, so even the cops are starting to wonder where this is going. Oh well, at least somebody brought beer. Even if I can't follow all these different plot lines, I can at least be drunk. Meanwhile, it looks like the young couple's crime spree is going well. Japan's one of the only countries where you can rob a place with just a stubby samurai sword. Okay, we're a third of the way in, and other than that opening fight scene, our supposed main character hasn't really done a whole lot, so what is he up to now? He's walking around Tokyo. Okay, I guess you technically do that in the game, so points for accuracy, I guess. And now he's just standing there, but he's gonna do something, and you know it's gonna be good.
あの風間さんが桐生さん迎えに行かないわけがないんですよね。
Okay, more exposition about trying to find the girl's mother that I don't really care about. Thankfully, they cut away to something else pretty quick. Also, this subtitle saying over-the-top shit is his trademark could be talking about one of the characters or the director. Even if, like I said, this is actually pretty subdued by his usual standards. There's also a subtitle saying things are getting complicated that could also be talking about the plot, since there's also a storyline involving a Korean assassin who's after a corrupt politician who might have stolen the Yakuza's money, or something like that. I'm not really following. I don't know, I'm just not used to quiet, talky scenes like this in a Takashi Miike movie. Usually I expect to see stuff like this. Now, if anyone's wondering just what the context behind that clip I just showed is, it wouldn't help even if I told you. Hey, wait a second, blood. Does this mean Kazuma's gonna get another fight scene?
死んだかどうかわからないやつを。
Shit. Hey Kazuma, it's for you. Something about wanting you to actually link up with the other storylines? Goro comes back and takes Kiryu and Haruka back to his hideout, and you know what that means. Time for another fight scene. What the f- Get out of here! You're interrupting my fight scene! There we go, that's more like it. Oh, fight choreography here is pretty decent. It even includes a few slow-mo quick-time events. Yeah, not bad, but what I'd really like to see is Kiryu beat somebody up with a stone pillar like in the game. Speaking of the game, why the hell does everybody have to keep going to this guy to buy weapons? Shouldn't you just be able to randomly pick him up off the street? And if anybody thinks, well, that would just be unrealistic, they had the main character do a power punch out of nowhere at the beginning. Oh, Jesus, this bank robbery subplot's been going on so long, the characters are taking a lunch break.
あれ以上高いのを要求してきたら
Well, if you are gonna shoot him, make sure you equip the right weapon. This gun might look fancy, but it can't even kill a satellite dish. It does, however, seem to be a lot more effective on people. Okay, let's see. Plot developments. Apparently the reason these two went on a crime spree is because the girl owes some shady people money. Whatever, I still don't care about this subplot.
あんまり痛くないんだね。
Oh no, and she also got shot. Not, what's her name? Yeah, Yui. Not her. This movie better pick up if it wants to keep my attention. Okay, still not sure what's really going on here or what this has to do with the rest of the movie, but I am curious to see where this goes. It kinda looks like somebody spliced the ending to a Resident Evil game in here, which, honestly, I'm okay with. Anyway, Kiryu's still looking for Haruka's mom, which takes them to a rub-a-dub-dub. Sounds like an appropriate place to take a kid, but surprise, Goro's there waiting for him.
Double hit there.
Damn, this looks like the ending of Scarface if it was directed by John Waters. Or, you know what, I could've just said Takashi Miike. If he directed Scarface, probably look like this. Luckily for Kiryu, Japanese bars are the toughest in the world. The bartenders, not so much. See, now this is what I'm talking about. Some ridiculous, over-the-top action, kinda like what you'd see in a video game. Beats the hell out of that boring escort mission involving the little girl we've seen so far. Eventually both Goro and Kiryu run out of ammo, but Goro remembered to bring a melee weapon, which means it's baseball fighting time. Dude, aim for the nuts. You could end this fight in like a second. Also, this is a minor point, but why do the baseballs look like giant golf balls here? Eventually, Goro figures out it's more effective to just whack him with the baseball bat, which again seems to fit in with the game. Oh, and I guess guns are pretty effective too. So, who is this guy? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know who that is. The detective is there too, who informs Kiryu that Haruka's mother and the missing money are both in the same place. So I guess those plot lines tie together? Okay, now they just need to find out where she is on the map and we can get to the ending cutscene. Well, great, and I forgot to save, so now I gotta start the whole movie over again. Just kidding, he's not dead. Kiryu survived a nuclear-powered baseball to the gut. A bullet shouldn't be a problem. And he can definitely get better if he has some of this drink called Power Up Stamina X. You know, I'm beginning to think this movie is more self-aware than I gave it credit for. Looks like we're rapidly approaching the climax. After all, we got a CGI helicopter flying around the streets of Tokyo, which seems like the kind of thing you'd see at the end of a video game. Too bad the movie doesn't have a turret shooter sequence, though. Anyway, Kiryu goes to rescue Haruka, who's being held by the leader of the dreaded Goldfish Gang. This final boss character is apparently a big Yakuza boss, who I haven't seen up until now, but again, this probably makes more sense if you've actually played the game. The point is they're gonna fight one-on-one, which means I get to do this. Unfortunately for the Yakuza boss, he didn't count on Kiryu stocking up on more power-up Stamina X. And judging by the label, not only does it replenish your health, but it also gives your face a raging nose boner. And see if you can guess what this leads to. Hell yeah, this movie just got awesome! The Yakuza boss goes Super Saiyan 2, but that still ain't enough to save him. You lose! Oh, and Haruka also finds her mother. That's good. I really care about this. She's also rigged the stolen money to explode for reasons I don't fully understand. But to be fair, I also wasn't really paying close attention. The important thing is that we end with a helicopter crash in the top of a building exploding, which is also apparently how the game ends. And instead of blowing up the money, the explosion just causes it to rain down on the citizens of Tokyo. Would have been nice if this happened earlier, we're almost at the end. It's too late to buy stuff from the convenience store now. Oh, and these two are still here. Okay, at least they finally got some cash. Maybe now they can buy new ski masks. The ending of this movie is kind of abrupt, with Kiryu emerging from the rubble and Haruka asking if she can stay with them. It's almost like they're setting up a sequel movie that never ended up getting made. Well, I guess you'll have to play the second game to see where this goes. Alright, I finally did a video game movie on this show. Although I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed they didn't include a vehicle section in this movie. Yakuza Like a Dragon is far from the worst video game movie ever made. Yeah, I know that's not really saying much, but unlike a lot of video game movies, the biggest problem here is that there's a little too much going on plot-wise. I know I said I didn't care about the plot as long as the movie's fun, but all the different storylines going on kinda get in the way of the fun. Things like Kiryu helping Haruka find her mother in the final fight with the Yakuza boss are thrown in with very little setup and don't get much development, and that's not even including the other story threads that don't have much to do with the main plot. It's almost like they wanted to include every incidental character and side mission from the game in here. That's fine when you have several hours to explore them in a game, but in a movie that runs less than 2 hours, it just makes the whole thing seem unfocused. I would have much preferred to see more of Kiryu's rivalry with Goro, since that's easily the most fun part of the movie. Also, while there are some of Takashi Miike's trademark weird flashes here and there, compared to a lot of his other movies, this is actually pretty subdued. Normally I'd say that means this works as a good introduction for newcomers to his work, but honestly, I'd recommend starting with some of his more extreme stuff to get a better idea of what he's all about. The fight scenes are pretty entertaining, and there is some self-aware humor like the stamina drink, so there are some good things here, but as far as Takashi Miike flicks go, this one's pretty middle of the road. Well, that's all for now. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna drink some power-up Stamina X and see if I can find somebody to blow my nose. Until next time!